All right, everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Contact Lost. If you don't remember me, if you don't know who I am Tweak, the old host who is back and is back for good. And today I have an amazing guest with me. The dust has settled after the WTC. Our coach has nothing to do now, so he agreed to join me for this brand new episode of Contact Lost, where we are going to be talking about. I'll tell you in a moment. First of all, Dyuceu, welcome. How are you?
Hi, how are you too? I'm good. Basically, after WTC, resting. As you said, I have nothing to do, so I joined you for this episode.
Yeah. All right. I'm very happy that you joined because we have a new series that we are going to start that you're going to see more often on Contact Lost. And this is something that, well, we haven't really invented a name yet, but probably something along the lines of how to beat XYZ. So this is going to be a series. We don't have to do it every week, but we're going to do it fairly regularly. And this is going to be a series, as you can imagine, where we are going to be discussing beating the meta bullies. So we are going to be talking about armies that currently win events, that are currently strong, that are currently a challenge to beat, and the armies that you will definitely see and meet at events. And we are going to try and crack them. We're going to try and find solutions to the challenges that those armies pose. We are going to design strategies. We are going to think about units that it's worth bringing. We are going to think about um, list construction, strategies, tactics, and so on how to approach the said meta bullies. Today's episode, the first one, is going to be about, I guess, one of the biggest meta bullies right now, an army that I play, but not because it's a meta bully. I played it before it was cool. An army that had, I think, the biggest. Not, I mean, the army that was the most present army during the WTC in the World Team Championships, because I think there were what, like 40
Yes,
death cards?
something like this.
40 death cards out of how many teams? 40,
42, 44,
42.
something around that.
So almost every team brought death card with them. When you look at, I don't know, Goonhammer's competitive innovations, the army is absolutely everywhere, and you can tell that the guys writing the meta reviews and the guys writing the articles summarizing the events are running out of vocabulary to describe how overpowered this army was. Now, recently, I think last week, we had an emergency patch or a patch, I don't know, whatever we want to call it. So the army has changed a little bit. And we have Dyuceu with us now to discuss whether the changes were too much, too little, or just enough, and whether the army still is a meta threat or not. So, Dyuceu, let's start with like the WTC experience, and then let's jump to the present. But first, 40 death guards out of 42 teams. Is that a litmus paper, an indicator that the army was overpowered, or and was it, if yes, then was it like Eldar level overpowered from the beginning of 10th edition, or is that a little bit too much?
Okay, personally, I think it was just a bit overpowered because mostly it was undercosted. Basically, if you add the 300 points to the list, like then it will be pretty nice balanced army. I think it was not Eldar level. Definitely, it was not the Wraith Knight killing your unit in Overwatch every time,
With
and
devastating
then
wounds, blah blah blah.
yeah, and Phantasm going back behind the ruin. It was very very good, very consistent in
Hmm.
doing the scores. Basically, that's why I think most of the countries decided to bring it. But with this slate, it should be better. But I think still it will be around S tier, A plus tier army because I think the
Hmm.
nerfs were a bit too little.
Okay, so we're going to get that together in a moment. Mm, you said that the army was like undercosted, but when you looked at, for example, again, Gunhammer's reviews of the army and summaries of tournaments and so on, you could tell that almost every single available detachment from the book saw play. I think well, maybe Taliban wasn't that superbly taken, but Virulent Victorum, Mortarion Hammer, um, Champions of Contagion, whichever the Terminator one is, all of them saw play. Does that mean that the book itself also was very good, or was it all down to just points?
I think the book itself is pretty okay because you can use almost every detachment basically. On the 8-man teams, the thing is a bit different because you can skew the list in a bit different way for more pairings, make it more specialized. That's why I think we seen every detachment almost
Mm-hmm.
basically. Because we have had like knights, we had elders, wolves, very different armies in the teams, and the detachments in the Death Guard book are pretty okay. And
Mm-hmm.
depending on the point, basically, I think we will see few of them in play all the time. Like the strongest was Mortarion Hammer with 3 PBCs, without a doubt. But still, you can play the Index Detachment, the Virulent Victorum. You can still play COC,
Mm-hmm.
because they give you the different pins in competitive in 8-man teams.
Right. Okay. Um, Why did the Polish national team decide to take Mortarion's hammer and not something else? Was there like a special reasoning behind it, or was it something that Victor simply felt comfortable with?
I think the Victor was pretty comfy with it, and also it was the best all-rounder list to
Mm-hmm.
play in almost everything,
Mm-hmm.
with PBCs, with the hammer rule, giving you the contagion on 2 units you choose.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it had really good synergy with PBCs, with Death Shrouds, and it was pretty nice opener and closer for multiple pairings because of that
Okay.
versatility in the meta.
Yeah. Okay. So we could see that during the WTC it was fairly successful, but now fast forward to today. The army got some nerfs, only points, no rules changes. So let's start with this. Do you think that rules changes are necessary for this army? Is there anything that this army does that at the moment that is overpowered?
I think the auras are very good. I would not say the overpowered because we played with auras for whole the 10 edition.
Mm-hmm.
-1 save, -1 ballistic skill, weapon skill, etc. I think they are just very good rule, and I don't think there will be need for rules changes. I think it can be balanced just with points.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Now, as we said, the points have changed. What changed exactly, and are you happy with those changes?
Basically, everything that needed went up. I think few things could went up higher than it went. Basically, they should be playing, but still on very good level. Like Death Shrouds with Lord of Contagion went just a bit up. I think they will go up in next data slate also because it's still very good data sheet. Um, and that should balance the army the most because I think that's the most broken data sheet with its rule that if you are in contagion range, you can drop from deep strike in 6 inches and still charge,
Hmm.
basically.
Yeah, that is immensely powerful. No other army can do that, I think, or like with
There
niche
are
units.
few, there are few, but not on that big scale.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Because you will drop in Death Guard almost 1,000 points on your opponent face and just
Hmm.
charge it on 6 up.
Okay. All right. So we pretty much established that this army is a meta bully still. Continues to be extremely strong. So how do you prepare? How do you plan your list for a tournament, taking into consideration that Death Guard is definitely going to be there? What are the army's weaknesses? What tools do you want to bring?
Okay, basically Death Guard is pretty slow army, and I think the staple in this meta is Deep Strike Denial in 12 inches because it will definitely stop the Death Shrouds.
Hmm.
And every list in almost every detachment will have Death Shrouds with lots and with Lord of Virulence, depending on the detachment and the list itself. And I think they are the biggest threat in turn 2 and 3
Mm-hmm.
because they will drop and they will kill almost everything you put there. So I think starting the list, like your part of tool set in the list with Deep Strike Denial is great, because other than that, most of the list is very, very slow. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of advanced charges, you don't have a lot of high movements, you are more slow and steady than fast army.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So first weakness, slowness, and the counter to that, or like something that should help you, deep strike denial. So when we say deep strike denial, it's how do you achieve that? So what are the options?
Basically, the most simple one is taking something like infiltrators or technoarchaeologist that will give you the
Or a
12
navigator? Mm-hmm.
navigator that will give you the 12-inch denial deep strike bubble.
Mm-hmm.
The other option is to take in cheaper, bigger units like neophytes, let's say, because you have 20 men unit for just a bit of 100 points,
Yep.
and you can screen with them pretty good.
Mm-hmm. So something like that, or Zangor, or some like
Yeah,
chaff unit,
chaos
but a lot.
cultists,
Mm-hmm.
something like this. Like 2 units of chaos cultists should most of the time screen most of your deployment zone,
Mm-hmm.
and that should help you because this will make DevGuard to drop the death shrouds more defensively than offensively,
Mm-hmm.
and the DevGuard will lose all the momentum there.
Right. Okay. So this plus potentially your positioning. So just spacing it right,
Exactly,
trying to predict where they might come, and so on and so on. So yeah, and let's remember they can only arrive 6 inches from a unit that is afflicted. So if possible, stay away. Although in Morty's hammer it doesn't really change much. But then again, in Morty's hammer, you can only select the units for affliction that are more than 12 inches away. So,
exactly.
like, if you are an aggressive army, I guess, like World Leaders or Blood Angels or something, just charge in, demolish, wreck face, and don't look back. They will come in anyway, but at least you can do some damage first. All right, so slowness is their first big disadvantage. What other disadvantages does this army have that could be exploited potentially?
From my experience, the DevGuard will struggle versus toughness 11 plus models with invul save,
Mm-hmm.
basically, because you don't have a lot of strength 12, 13, 14 in this army. So this will definitely help you if you have something like this. Basically, Lancer Atrapos Knights, they are great
Yep.
versus DevGuard. And if you have something like this with high toughness and very low save or invul, like Vindicator with 2 up,
Mm-hmm.
it can help you if you stage it offensively and you make the DevGuard uh, attack this other than your different units, because they will struggle, because like blight launchers, etc., they are strength 10. So if you are outside the contagion you will be wounded on 5 ups, which is not comfy for the dev
Mm-hmm.
guard.
Yeah. Okay. So I can attest to this because I play, as I mentioned, I play Death Guard. Um, Knights of any flavor are probably one of the toughest, if not the most difficult matchups out there. Recently I played, and that was before the nerf. I played at a local tournament. I guess for like top 3 spots against a guy who brought 5 big knights, and I just didn't have an answer to that. Plus, it turned out that having Mortarion in your list is probably actually playing against you because he just either dies outright or does nothing. But he costs 370 points. So, and I, by the way, I had no idea because the guy had the Castellan Knight in his list. I haven't seen a Castellan Knight since 8th edition when when you would play him with whatever this was, Loyal 49 or Loyal 31 or whatever it was called. Um, so I had this brilliant idea because the guy pushed forward, he left his deployment, that I'm going to drop Mortarion in the back on his objective. That was a great idea. Too bad the Castellan is so powerful he shot Morty off the table just by himself. Like no one else was there. The feel no pain, the invuln didn't help. He just melted. So yeah, like knights are a tough nut to crack, definitely. So high toughness things. Agreed. What else?
-1 damage. That will be my hot take, because most of the damage in Death Guard will be either 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm,
If you check the profiles like Blight Launchers, Death Shrouds, Blackburst Crawlers, Hellbrood,
mm-hmm,
everything is damage 2 and 3. So if you reduce it to 1 or 2, then even the Death Shrouds can stop on like 5 Death Company guys with Lamartis.
mm-hmm.
Basically, I think that Death Guard doesn't have a way to win the traits if you have -1 damage available from stratagem, from model rules, etc. I
Yep,
think
it's the
that
it's the
that's the big
Custodes
stopper.
complex, I would say, because
Yeah.
Custodes suffer in exactly the same way. And funny bit, I play Custodes as well. Those are my two armies, and I see the similarities in that when you play Custodes, like Warden Bricks and so on, everything in there is damage too. When you reduce the damage, you suffer. So yeah, absolutely, I agree. This is spot on.
Yeah, even we calculated today that if you have -1 damage, the Death Shrouds have like 45% chance of whiffing and not killing 5 Marines.
Hmm. Yeah, which is kind of sad, but can happen. Okay. Any other interesting tactics that could help, or
M-
units that could help against Death Guard?
Hot take, tested
Uh
by me and my few friends, Hordes. Because Death
huh.
Guard don't have multiple tools to deal with it.
Okay. I don't know if I agree,
We even
but
tested with
uh
Victor
huh.
that the free ACDC bricks list with CSM can play with Death Guard for nice win even before a nerf.
Mm-hmm.
I just screwed that matchup up and made 8 points,
Mm-hmm.
but there was possibility to do like 13, 14 for Chaos Cultists, because you don't have the tools to kill multiple models. If you put like 100 boys in front of a Death Guard and even close them in the deployment zone if you went first,
Mm-hmm.
I think the Death Guard is cooked.
Okay. So with the Death Shroud having like two profiles, one strike and one whatever the other one is called, where they have like what, 8 attacks hitting on threes, that is not enough to chew through a horde.
Through 20 boys, through 20 Echoes Cultists can be not enough,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And if you have that many models, you will screen the whole mid table. So
Mm-hmm.
they will drop into your deployment zone,
So it's not
basically.
even about essentially fighting Death Guard. It's more about like
You
locking
don't
them.
you don't need to kill Death Guard to win with a Death Guard,
Mm-hmm.
basically. I played a lot of CSM Riders, and most of the times when I played versus Death Guard, my glory tactic was to give them 1 unit of ACDC per turn
Mm-hmm.
into your deployment zone line. And you
Mm-hmm.
went from the deployment zone in your 5th turn when you killed all my accursed cultists, my possessed, and big bricks. I had nothing on the table and made 15 plus.
Okay. All right. So it's more about
Deny of the scoring,
yeah,
basically.
scoring denial, primary denial, movement denial. So you don't really have to. I mean, it's good if you bring in the damage, but if you have just enough bodies, they will get stuck.
Yeah, in many armies, the infiltration with scout, the best,
Mm-hmm.
will give the same result for first turn or first 2 turns, basically,
Mm-hmm.
because you're slow, not everything flies,
Mm-hmm.
so you can basically really easily close blight haulers, hell brutes, plague bursts, rhinos with plague marines
Mm-hmm.
into the deployment zone and just refuse to play with them.
Mm-hmm.
You will close them into deployment zone. They are slow models, so they will be in the midfield around turn 3,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the times it's too late.
Okay. Sounds like a viable tactic, but also probably from the things that we've discussed so far, the most difficult one, because this is something that you have to do really well. You have to pre-measure, you have to know your distances, their distances, etc., etc. So Yeah, but definitely a viable tactic.
Yeah,
So,
you need
mhm,
to block option for going with Rhino or MBH over the wall, because on WTC there is a tactic that you can, if you have enough movement, you can go over the lowest point on the small ruin
mhm,
with a vehicle. You need to have this in consideration even to pop up this tactic.
mhm. Okay. So what? So you just go up
Up and down. Yeah,
and
basically
down. Uh-huh.
3 inches up, your base size, 3 inches down. You can do it with mounted, with vehicle, etc.
Okay.
But
All
there
right.
cannot be a floor.
Okay. That is, I mean, I always knew that you can do that, but I didn't consider it a viable tactic. I might reconsider this. But okay, good to know. As a Dev Guard player, thank you. All right. Is there anything else that is useful against Death Guard?
And I think against DevGuard, if I would have an option to bring high damage, no loss shooting with
Okay.
high range, would be perfect, because you can kill the DevGuard faster than it will kill you in terms of like Plague Boost crawlers.
Mm-hmm.
If you have something like Exorcist, the DevGuard player will be forced to play PBCs more offensively, more
Mm-hmm.
into the midboard, because of that option that you will kill it even if it's behind the ruin in his deployment zone.
Okay. But how many armies can boast a tool like that? So, like, a high strength,
Sisters,
high damage. So sisters, I don't know, guard maybe. Like,
maybe something like this.
mm-hmm. So that's a fairly
First,
narrow.
small options, but
Yeah.
if you have this option, I would take it definitely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, worth noting, definitely. So you've mentioned PBCs. PBCs went up, so they are now 210 points. Um, First of all, do you think that they are still worth the points and are worth bringing?
I think two are worth bringing. I think three will be overkill for
Mm-hmm.
these points, but I still think we will see like hammer list with two PBCs.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we are going to see PBCs in any other list than Mortarian's
I
Hammer?
don't, for these points. I don't think so. Like, basically, they are so good in Mortarion's hammer because of the detachment rule,
Mm-hmm.
and because of that, they are really, really bad in my opinion in different detachments.
Yeah, they don't do as much. So I mean, yeah, they are pretty stock standard as before the codex and so on, but more expensive. So yeah, I agree. Um, okay, so high damage, no loss shooting. I'm just trying to think of any other army outside of Guard and Sisters that does it, but I can't think of it. Again, I mean Knights, but this is not no loss. It's just abusing the terrain rules
Yeah,
because
basically.
they can essentially see you from almost everywhere, which is almost like no loss shooting. All right. Any other pain points for Death Guard? Anything else that Death Guard
And
doesn't
I
like?
think the last but not least, high movement speed.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if you can outrun Death Guard, there is a very, very big chance that you will score enough points in early rounds to win with them.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you are tabled on the bottom of four, if you scored enough, you can still win this game.
Mm-hmm.
I had many games like looking like this versus DevGuard for like 11, 12, so small win, but being tabled on bottom of the four,
Mm-hmm.
because you can outrun the DevGuard even if they need to be like in 6, 9 inches in early turns from you to give you the contagion, and you can outrun this basically.
Yeah.
And if you have high movement speed, and if you have reactive movements
Mm-hmm.
to block the contagion, that's great. The reactive movement stratagems, I think, are worth gold versus DevGuard.
Yeah. I totally agree. If there is anything that I hate is like things running away from me when I am almost certain that I've secured the kill. And then it turns out that it runs away. The charge is longer. I usually don't make it. I don't have a CP for reroll, and then yeah, everything falls apart. So I agree that high movement is very good. Yesterday I had a game against Dark Eldar, and it just took me that by surprise that they not only had like a scouting venom, that already moved onto the objective and made it sticky. And yeah, sticky probably is another tool that is really helpful because the Death Guard needs to get there, and if they are not playing hammer, then they actually need to come close to give you the
Yeah,
contagion and so on. So that is probably good. And the movement was a challenge. I really had to um, like Dark Eldar or even World Eaters. I just had to pre-measure everything, put dice on the table to know where the movements can finish. With World Eaters, they can pretty much charge into your deployment. So if you deploy in the wrong way, you're done for. Um, so yeah, so it movement is really really strong against that card. I agree. What do you think about uh, something that hurts me? I played two games recently versus Thousand Suns. I played against Joker, and I played against our local player Cow, who is really good as well. And it just feels like uh, devastating wounds is something that hurts Death Guard a lot. Like,
yeah, but I don't think that many armies will have enough of death wounds
hmm
to hurt you. I think I would focus more on something like AP to ignore cover, basically to put everything into the death guard on invul saves.
yeah. So again, pretty much like Custodes, and then it's a
Yeah,
game of 4 ups, so 50-50 chance.
yeah, I think this will be more reliable in the long run,
hmm
basically.
Okay.
I would say like the spoiler gatling with ignore cover is perfect,
hmm
but another hot take, Gladiator Reaper in Ultramarines on Gladius, because you can pump up AP to 2 on Tempest
hmm
Bolters, and you can give it ignore cover from the same stratagem. So you will have 16 shots, reroll hits with +1 to wound, so wounding on force, AP2, damage 1, ignore cover.
hmm
Pretty okay.
Yeah, sounds like something that I would prefer to avoid. So yeah, agreed. Okay, one more thing that I thought about, something that I experienced in the game yesterday. So I dropped my 2 units of Death Guard. One dropped um, close to 6 inches away from a Venom that had Lilith in it with like some what do you call them, witches.
Which is,
Then there was another Venom with Drazar and some Incubi, and I think a unit of witches with a succubus on foot. So I dropped the 2 units. I shot the Venoms. The Venoms died, and then I charged the Death Shroud into Lilith, but I forgot that she has fights first.
ooh,
Yeah. So basically, what happened is Lilith by herself killed three Death Shroud, and I was only left with the Lord. So the Lord did the job. He actually killed everything that was left. But uh, fight first is definitely something that hurt me a lot. You can probably play around it, but then again, if you have it, it sounds like a potent tool
yeah,
because
I would
yeah.
not put it as auto include,
hmm
because it will be more list depending for DevGuard, because we have multiple different options to
hmm
play DevGuard, and few of them does not include a lot of charging, I think. And I would put different tools in this place. But if you are playing in the meta where there is a lot of Death Shroud, Plague Marines, etc., then definitely it's a good option to put some Judicers, Banshees, Lilith with Witches, etc., different Fight First units.
hmm Okay. Right. So we agree on this one as well. Anything else?
Good placed infiltration, like just simplest cheapest infiltration you have, like you can have 5 Jaegers in Votan on new
hmm
codex after splitting. I think good placed infiltration can open the whole matchup. If you are going first, you can block the poxwalkers. If you are going second, you can pretty good, pretty okay block the whole flank for a death guard to enter basically and stage your scout moves, etc.
hmm Yeah, agreed. Um, I usually hate it when people have well placed infiltration. No, and especially units like scouts that can infiltrate and scout back. So you can play them aggressively behind the wall, and then when it's the turn to move your scouts, you can just hide them behind the wall. And they do brilliantly, and they push you away. So yeah, absolutely, I agree. Um, anything else on the level of list building that you can consider that is worth
On
bringing?
the level of list building, I would put a lot, but a ton of little shots if you have option for +1 to wound on them.
Hmm. So
Because
chip damage, basically.
yeah, chip
Hmm.
damage, bolters, stabbers, etc. If you have +1 to wound, because that's the same as custodes. They
Hmm.
have to up in cover, but sometimes you can pop up AP and sometimes you cannot. But still, if you have like repulsor executioner with like 40 chip shots,
Hmm.
you will kill some death shrouds with that.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I totally agree. Again, I've been on the receiving end of chip shooting, and it just melts. But eventually, you're just gonna fail your saves. It always happens. So yeah, agreed. Um, okay, just to change the dynamic of it a little bit, instead of listing things that is are worth bringing. Tell me this: when you were going to the WTC, again, you were the coach of the national team, so you know the like all the inside details and so on. Were there any armies that Victor specifically didn't want to play? Were there any armies that you wanted to hide him from in the pairing process?
Few knights list,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. We thought after the test that he can play versus American Chaos Cult, but it will be for small win.
Mm-hmm.
So if there were few ACDC based lists, because they will just close him in the deployment, etc.
Mm-hmm.
That we thought this will not be a good matchup,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
No. Okay. So we're covering the horde archetype. We're covering the high toughness archetype that Death Guard doesn't like. Um, which other armies feel strong against Death Guard? Like they seem to have answers.
I will definitely say Eldar
Mm-hmm.
will have answers into the Death Guard,
So
because
yeah, what would
Eldar
that be?
shenanigans basically.
Okay.
Move your transport, get out, shoot, hide back. You shoot the transports move back,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
because
So
it's just Eldar.
yeah, so it's the mixture of like high, well,
High
efficient
speed,
shooting, high
efficient
speed,
shooting,
reactive movement,
etc.
blah blah blah.
Reactive movement, great infiltration with scout, basically
Mm-hmm.
something like this. I think I would not like to play in few Votan builds, basically,
Mm-hmm.
because I think they also high toughness on like fortresses, pretty okay combat with berserks, fight on death for up.
Mm-hmm.
You can go, okay, you killed 5 or 10 berserks and half of them hit you after with tokens and you die, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean all Votans before the codex. I think the the best counter for Death Guard, in my opinion, is still the Death Guard.
So another Death Guard, the
Yeah,
most absorbing game to watch on a stream, as we've learned during the WTC.
exactly. And
Mm-hmm.
for few different builds, I think the MSU is very very good option to play versus Death Guard,
Mm-hmm.
because you will not have that the version without PBCs, basically,
Mm-hmm.
because Death Guard don't have that many options to kill like 15-20 units in reasonable time if they are fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if they can move away or just stay away, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and another, I think, the very very hard hitter like wolves on Stormlands, which are fast, durable,
Mm-hmm.
and pack a big punch in combat.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but are we talking like cavalry or like a lot of Wolfen or like what build are we
Basically, I
talking about?
think both can work, because cavalry will work better versus the shroud, and
Mm-hmm.
wolfen will work better against Mortarian's hammer car park,
Mm-hmm.
basically. But I think even after the nerf of iron priests, the Space Wolves have pretty good matchup into the Death Guard after the Death Guard nerfs.
Hmm. Okay. All right. What do you think? And again, this is coming from my experience. Like one of the armies that I struggle against. So I mentioned Thousand Suns, and I will still insist that Thousand Suns with the
Death Wounds, extra movement.
yeah,
Yeah,
but also like if they bring, and they usually do, if they bring Magnus, Magnus is just a pain in the ass. I think he's a pain in the ass for everyone, but for Death Guard as well, because
high toughness invul lowers your damage basically. Yeah,
yeah, he essentially is a conglomeration of all the things that we said are anathema to
yeah,
Death Guard.
exactly.
So him, definitely a pain in the butt. But then one other army that I don't seem to have a good record against are Grey Knights. And then it feels like an army that can essentially remove itself from the table, take 3 units, and just disappear. Makes it incredibly hard to plan your next movement. And then the army can pretty much decide where they want to hit you. And I found it challenging, but when I said it, you didn't seem too convinced. So what's like? Have you or has Victor practiced against Grey Knights in his preparation for the WTC?
I don't know that if he
Mm-hmm.
just practiced because there was not a lot of Grey Knights
Mm-hmm.
on WTC. I think we can put it in the archetype of fast going army with reactive movements.
Yeah.
That's why Death Guard can struggle there. But on the other hand, I think the Grey Knights don't have a punch to kill Death Guard fast enough.
Okay.
If you go like high speed Death Guard and advance everything in early turns and go on to the objectives, I think the Grey Knights will struggle to take you off these objectives basically.
Okay. So I must try that approach because I usually entrench myself, and then yeah, I allow the Grey Knight space to actually do their shenanigans. Maybe if I tried to deny that, maybe it wouldn't be an uphill struggle for me, but
In
so
my
far it is.
in my opinion, if Death Guards will bunker on your natural objective and onto the middle objective, the Grey Knights will have not enough power to take you from both objectives in a reasonable time, basically.
Mm, okay. Although, like, if you take, the Dread Knight spam and so on, I had a game against 5 Dread Knights where I just, again, it was like a game of horrors, but I couldn't do anything to them. I couldn't punch through the invulnerable saves. And in return, of course, with the like damage 3 shooting and then, charges with hammers and um, the tank shock and so on, it was like really, really painful. Um, Maybe I just needed more practice against them, but it did seem like an uphill struggle for Death Guard, but maybe it doesn't apply to anyone, to everyone, sorry. Um, okay. Now, what is for the Death Guard player, is the preparation for a tournament a singles tournament or a teams tournament essentially the same?
I will say definitely not. On the teams, I think you and your team need to find the path for your DevGuard list because it's very versatile army right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can play like French DevGuard with shooting Plague Marines. You can play like Victor's DevGuard, Mortarion Hammer. You can play COC. I think on the teams you can even play Poxes
Mm-hmm.
and just full of boxes because I've seen Prozac play in the boxes when the codex came out and it was pretty hard to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, when they are spawning and spawning and spawning, multiple armies will have problem with that amount of bodies basically.
Mm-hmm.
And for singles, I would take most all-rounder list there is possible. Pre-nerf, it was Hammer, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what will be the best. Probably Virulent Victorum, I think. Like Alban's list esque.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is it because of the sticky, or is it just because of the nice mixture of or of all the rules that
It's
they have?
very nice combined arms, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Sticky helps because you are pretty slow army. You have some nice shooting, you have some nice combat, you have versatile units. Basically, you can take on every pairing, I think.
Mm-hmm.
More or
Okay.
less. You will not lose high, but you will also know not win high, but it's pretty okay for singles tournament.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And thinking about the future, again, um, have you guys already tried predicting like what the changes to Death Guard are going to be? So points, even higher points raises or any other rules changes that they deserve. What's the what's the feeling about Death Guard right now?
Okay, so from what I spoke with guys, there was like consensus that they will not change the rules
Mm-hmm.
because they are okay, they are not broken like Eldar
Mm-hmm.
on the beginning of the
Yeah, at the
edition.
beginning. Mm-hmm.
But we think the points will go up on Lord of Contagion, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a bit of on Death Shroud, maybe a bit on Plague Burst Crawlers. We think haulers will go up,
Mm-hmm.
and drones with blight launchers will go even higher up than now.
Okay. All right. So do you think that we will see any units that we haven't seen before? Because like I have my 10, 15 Blight Lords waiting to actually see play. I play them in friendly games, but like I don't really take them to tournaments. Do you think that raising points for the most played units will actually bring in more of those units that we haven't seen before?
I think it will depend on the cost because I think Blight Lords are now too overpriced to play.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I would see the big blobs of Blight Lords in few teams skewed lists.
Mm-hmm.
I think it can work pretty good, but they are too costly for it to
Especially that
work
they especially
because
that they need someone to service them, like either a Lord of
yeah,
Virulent, Lord of Contagion, or even the Demon Prince to actually give them like cover or stuff.
exactly, because I think for now you can try, but you will struggle because you will not have that many technical pieces on your board. You will not have a lot of things to score missions with, etc.
Hmm. Okay. Now, if we go into actually playing against, let's say, a typical Mortarian's Hammers list, let's take Victor's list. So like PBCs, Hellbrutes, drones, um, 2 units of Death Shroud, Poxwalkers, that kind of stuff. Is this an army that you want to charge as quickly as possible? Do you want to? We have already agreed that you want to try and block them on in their deployment, but not every army can do this. So if you don't have that tool, you cannot move block them and so on. What is the best tactic to take against like Mortarian's Hammer right now?
Okay, I played the matchup like this not that long ago. Right now I'm testing Storm Raven, so I don't have multiple units on the board,
Mm-hmm.
basically. So what I did, I tried to charge like 2, 3 very very fast but not durable units into the Death Guard's car park
Mm-hmm.
and screen with everything else in my army. Even the Storm Raven was a screening piece for
Mm-hmm.
first 3 turns to force the Death Guard player to drop the Death Shrouds in his deployment zone. Because
Out
if
of
they are,
position, basically.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
if they are there, the only objective in the range of them for turn 4 and 5 basically is the middle objective, and you
Mm-hmm.
can control pretty comfy. You can control both expansions and just score points. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need to kill the Death Guard. You just need to hold it in place,
Mm-hmm.
basically, in
Yeah.
scenario like that.
Okay. Is that good an army in your eyes that plays the secondary game easily?
The Death Guard, I don't think so,
Mm-hmm.
because if you hold it, there are not multiple pieces to the missions with. Basically,
Yeah.
most of the Death Guard players that I've seen will trade the infiltrating boxes early, like turn 1, 2, uh, and that's your mission piece.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, you can do the missions with drones, hellbrutes, etc. And that's not worth the points, I think.
Yeah.
That's why the best option is to try to overscore and block the Death Guard, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's working for me every time. Basically, if I have an opening like misplaced infiltration or we didn't roll off for infiltration, to
Mm-hmm.
just try and hold the Death Guard for as long as possible and screen the whole no man's land and my deployment zone, I think that will be the best tactic for singles,
Mm-hmm.
basically.
Okay. Any other tactics that you can suggest against them? I mean, we did cover the list building. We did mention that blocking them, denying them scoring will probably bring success. Anything else? Any other, I don't know, secret sauce that you guys have as Team Poland versus Death Guard?
If you have option to kill it fast, like I mean table turn free,
Mm-hmm.
do it. If not, there is no value in trading with it,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
basically.
Are there a lot of armies that can actually afford to, or like, just push them to that point that they are tabled at turn 3?
Few.
Mm-hmm.
Wolves, Eldars, Mirror Match, Old Voten. Uh, I did it once with Blood Angels,
Mm-hmm.
but once for like 3 or 4 tries, basically, because
Mm-hmm.
that's still very tough army. So if you have this opening and the Death Guard player misplaced something,
Mm-hmm.
then do it. If not, no there's the cost is too big to even try it, because if you go in and you will not kill like Hellbrute, drone and Holler you charged with 1 unit,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to die miserably in a clapback. Like your whole army can die in this place. Like using this 1 unit to charge it and not killing it will lose you the game,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Okay. All right. Uh, I think I ran out of questions. Is there anything else that you wanted to share about or against that card?
If you are playing Death Guard, don't play PBCs right now. I
Mm-hmm.
think try
Yeah.
something else. They are overcosted. If you are trying to do some lists as a Death Guard player for your tournament now, check your local meta, because this will be most depending on what will you take in the list.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a lot of hordes in the meta, try taking more boxes, etc., more infiltration. If you have more tough stuff, try to bring 6-man Death Shrouds unit
Mm-hmm.
and try to kill it, basically, and take a lot of Hellbrutes then. And if you are having a lot of Death Guard in your meta, try to take Deep Strike Denials, try to take infiltrations with Scout, and not to trade with them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have one more question. And this is now something that sparked a small discussion in my local community. As I've mentioned, I played a game against Dark Eldar yesterday. Going into that game, not knowing what exactly, just knowing that I'm going to be playing Death Guard, but not knowing what the opponent is going to bring, I felt that I had the advantage. I felt like as a Death Guard player, I have the necessary tools to counter Dark Eldar. And approaching the game, I felt like being in a better position. The game sort of demonstrated that I was right. The guy, uh, let's say, overestimate or under. I don't know which word to use, because he underestimated the PBCs by claiming they usually don't do anything, so I'm not going to put my scourges in deep strike or like off the table. Two PVCs in my list essentially removed his both scourge units without bigger trouble. I rolled hot for the mortal wounds and so on. As soon as they were gone, the only two things that could really threaten my vehicles were two Ravagers, which again melted pretty quickly because they are like toughness 9 or something like that. So they popped quickly, and the guy just didn't have an answer for the rest of my list. Is Death Guard a counter to elves, or is Death Guard specifically a counter to Dark Eldar, or are both of those armies in proficient hands uh, direct counters to Death Guard?
I will say that will depend on the DevGuard build, because you
Hmm.
can build the DevGuard to deal with elves and do it efficiently, but
Hmm.
most of the times it will depend on the Eldar operator skills.
Right.
If he
Okay.
will underestimate the PBCs and don't put the most important units in the reserves or in the transports, you will win that game easily. But
Hmm.
if he knows what PBC can do, he will check all the ranges, etc., you will not win this game.
Hmm.
That's my opinion in both Eldar and Dark Eldar. And if you are playing like casually show and tell with your friends, the Death Guard will always have the advantage, I
Hmm.
think, like
Okay.
in this meta, because there are multiple viable builds, and if you side for one build,
Hmm.
you will definitely lose versus all of the others.
Hmm. Okay. All right. I think that is it. Unless again there is anything else that you, because you said that you did some preparation with other Death Guard Polish players and so on. So was there anything else that they uncovered to you?
No, basically, big shout out to Prozac and Katana, from with whom I spoke today for long
Mm-hmm.
hours about that. We basically were minding what is the biggest pain for DevGuard for
Mm-hmm.
those hours and how to kill it.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought these points will be enough to give to people, because that's mostly everything,
Mm-hmm.
without giving like some personal tips. Like, you can say the move block will work great, but I'm not Golonka to make it work like we
Mm-hmm.
want it to work. Yeah,
Yeah.
it will be too hard basically. So I think this will be enough to kill every dev guard you will meet.
Yeah. Um, One thing that pops into my head, because we keep, as like Polish players, we keep talking about WTC, and we move within the context of WTC, which obviously has specific rules, but also has specific layouts. Um, but there are also other systems, like there is UKTC that has slightly different tables and so on, maybe more open tables. Is Death Guard a table agnostic army in your eyes, or is it an army that actually needs a table choice in teams' pairings, for example?
I think in most of the builds you are table agnostic. You can play
Mm-hmm.
on everything with everybody.
Okay.
That's
All
why I
right.
think it will be the one of the strongest singles army, as the GT in Szczecin last week showed. We
Mm-hmm.
had two dev guards in top three, and
Wow.
the dev
Okay.
guard on fourth or fifth place, something like
Mm-hmm.
this, on the single. So
And what were the
totally,
builds, by the way, just out of
it
sheer
was
curiosity?
Victor's build
Mm-hmm. So
from
hammer.
WTC.
Mm-hmm.
Kolgar played pretty similar build,
Mm-hmm.
and Katana played pretty similar build, like mostly hammer because it was pre-nerf
Okay.
basically.
All right. So still
Yeah,
like three
unfortunately
PVCs.
cut
Mm-hmm.
off, etc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think many tournaments suffered from that still. But yeah, we're going to see. I think Gunhammer already posted some results from tournaments that took place last weekend, highlighting also those that had new points. And in those, you didn't see that guard anywhere close to the top, which is interesting because, yeah, does it mean that all the power players and people who play the strongest armies dropped Death Guard?
I don't think
Or
so. I
uh
think
huh.
we will need to give the Death Guard players 2, maybe 3 weeks for tests,
Hmm.
and we will still be seeing the Death Guard in the top.
Okay. All right. It's going to be really interesting because, yeah, knives, knights also got hit. Do you think that knights got hit strong enough for people to stop taking them
No,
the
no,
way
no,
they?
no, no, definitely not.
No.
Because
Okay.
example of Knight Lancer in Imperial Knights, before any changes with relic banner of triumph and something like this, it was costing 460 points.
Mm-hmm.
And if you played big knights before the changes, you would take it every time because it was very nice costed.
Hmm.
Now, after the nerf, is costing like 420 points.
Hmm.
I think if you can still put 5 big knights into one list, it's too much.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. So essentially, the predators hunting for Death Guard haven't changed a lot, even after the nerf.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. It will be interesting to see what the data slate then brings, and if we see any rules changes or not. All right. I think that is everything. Thank you, Ditsu, for your insights. I really appreciate them because with my Death Guard insights, it wouldn't be enough to fill up an hour, but now we have. So great job. Thank you. If now to our viewers and listeners, if you like what we did here, if you have any suggestions on how to improve, or if you have any questions that you would like asked in any of those series, or if you have suggestions which army we should pick up next, let us know in the comments. Let us know in any possible way on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, wherever you want. Um, I would like to thank our sponsors, Weyland-Yutani and the Army Painter, for supporting us. You're great, and we appreciate you. And if you like what we do here, do consider becoming a patron. Do drop us a shout in the chat during our live shows, etc., etc. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, hit the bell button, blah blah blah. We see each other in a week. If you have any suggestions on how to beat or any other topics that you would like to have us discuss, we are open to that. And I might reveal that there might be a surprise for the Polish viewers soon, because Contact Lost is considering maybe making some episodes in Polish as well. And if we do, Ditsu is probably also going to be there. So stick around and check this out. We want to see if we can do this and if you like it. So yeah, stay with us. We are full of surprises. For now, until next time, thank you everyone. Bye bye. Have a good
bye
evening.
bye.